All right, let's talk about how fast you should be shooting any given target. I get this question all the time in class. Should I be shooting this fast or should I be shooting this slow? It's like weird questions that people ask because there's a lack of understanding on how your shooting should be dictated by your eyes rather than some preconceived like, oh, this is close, I'll shoot it fast, and that's far, so I'll shoot it slow, or that's difficult, so I'll shoot it slow. Let me break it to you. You can shoot something extremely slow because you deem it as difficult and still absolutely suck on it. Like, you absolutely can still miss the shot and you could take all the time in the world because it's not a process-based thing you're trying to do. You're deciding a pace that you hope will give you a good result. Hope isn't the way to go, right? So we're going to go by confirmation levels, and through training we can then remember when I put my gun up and the relationship between my sighting system and the target informs my brain, informs my trigger, informs my whole platform, how aggressive I can be on that target, right? So confirmation levels, the pace at which you see something, like the check mark is achieved, then you can shoot. So how do I teach the confirmation levels? There's probably, I don't know, 30,000 videos out there. There's a ton, right, on confirmation levels and different ways of explaining it. Here for me, I think about it in three different ways. Like, if you're on the Ben Steger camp, you're gonna have confirmation 1, 2, and 3. And if you're in the Max Michel camp, you're gonna be like the flash, the float, and the focus, whatever. They're all similar in that you're expecting to see something from your sighting system on the spot you're looking at before it's okay to finish that press. All right. So how do we determine at different distances and all that, like, what is acceptable? So I'm going to be here like 5, 6, 7 yards, whatever that is, and I'm going to shoot what I consider a group shooting pace. A group shooting pace meaning I have the highest level of confirmation. In other words, I shoot, the gun stops moving, I shoot, the gun stops moving, I shoot. I do not shoot until the sights look like perfect sights. If you have irons, like equal light, equal height. If you have a dot, you're looking at the spot, the dot arrives and stops on that spot, and it looks like a circle, it looks like a dot, a whole thing. This is the only instance where your dot being crisp might even matter. I get this, like, sometimes people are like, oh, I like that dot more because it's crisp or whatever, like these weird, it looks round or whatever. I'm like, bro, why is your dot ever stopping? Like, my dot looks like a color most of the time for the practical uses that I use it. So anyway, but if you had to shoot something very complex, something small, something far, whatever, yes, you might need to stop the gun completely. The sights look like sights, like there's no streak, there's no movement, as little as possible. You're still human, you're gonna have some movement. So I'll shoot like 5 rounds of that at this distance. We'll see what kind of group I can get. Again, highest level of confirmation, trying to expect the gun from stopping. I'm trying to prevent the gun from moving very much. I'm gonna have the grip that I want, super constant. I'm gonna have the eyes that I want, which is that circle looking like a circle of the dot on the spot that I'm looking at. And the trigger press is going to be associated with the difficulty of the target as well. So here's group shooting first. Okay, so let's look at it. This is group shooting. I am expecting the sights to look like sights. So for my practical purposes, like, could I take more time to make sure they're all in the same hole? Yes. For me, I just want to make sure that, like, I have a thumb-sized group, 5, 6, 7 yards, whatever that is. If I stop the gun, I know that I can get a very good group without having to, like, take 2 hours to do it. Not bullseye shooting, just, group. The gun stops, I shoot. The gun stops, I shoot. I'm not waiting any longer than I need to get an acceptable result. I don't need a perfect result. I need an acceptable result. This is acceptable. Everything is touching the black. Yay. So then I go, okay, is that level of accuracy necessary for the use that I'm trying to have? Like, so if I'm looking at USPSA targets or the down zero in the IDPA target, it's about that big. If it's a USPSA target, it's about that big. So a thumb size group, it's probably too much confirmation, non-necessary in order for me to get what I need. So then I go, okay, if that is too much confirmation, what is the next level? What is the next check mark that I might be able to look for in order for me to achieve acceptable results? So I'll move from a completely stopped gun or a confirmation 3 if you're in that camp, or a focused sight if you're in that camp. I'll go down to a floating sight or a confirmation 2 in order to achieve similar or acceptable results at this distance for this size of target. So what is the check mark I'm looking for? Once the gun starts moving, I don't stop the gun completely ever again. So I'm gonna shoot 5-6 rounds, something like that, in the same kind of area. As soon as the gun lifts and it returns, I react to my sights returning to the spot that I'm staring at. As soon as it returns acceptably, I finish the press. Do not stop the gun. If you stop the gun again, now you're going back to group shooting, which takes time. If it takes time, you're defeating the purpose. You're not going to know what pace you can get away with, right? What speed you can get away with, because you're not shooting at the pace of your eyes. Your eyes are going to dictate, yep, it's returned. It's like kind of moving around that spot. It's cool. It's good. All right, I shoot. And then we'll look at the results then. So this would be confirmation 2, or, you know, a floating sight on around that spot. The rule for you should be that at this pace, I do not make the gun stop completely. Once it starts moving, it continues to move. All right. So as you could probably hear, the pace at which I shoot, that is significantly more aggressive. All right, so hopefully you can see that. Like, it's still about maybe 2 thumbs now instead of 1 thumb. So if I can shoot with that confirmation level at this distance and still get very, very acceptable results, why would I ever go back to group shooting at this distance for my skill level, whatever? Does that make sense? So this is how, through training, you kind of develop your confirmation levels and go, yeah, when I put my gun up on this target at this distance, I see something I've seen before, and I don't need a gun to be completely stopped to get an acceptable result on a down 0 or, you know, a zone in USPSA. So group shooting was too small or unnecessary confirmation. When I went to this pace, the level 2 confirmation, I guess some people would call it reactive shooting, because you're reacting to your sights coming back but never stopping. That float, right? And maybe I got 2 thumbs worth, maybe it's like a 2-inch group, 2.5-inch group, whatever. Still plenty acceptable. In fact, maybe too much confirmation, and I probably need to get shooting a little bit more aggressive yet, right? So then I go, okay, if group shooting, stopped gun, was too much, and I decrease my confirmation level, I can achieve that sooner by shooting something that's floating, something that's moving a bit. Confirmation 2, right? I go there and I'm like, oh man, that's still more accuracy than I need. So is there a way to decrease my confirmation level even more so that I can shoot even more aggressively, not based on some preconceived speed I want to have, rather but based on something my eyes are seeing? And then I can get used to, in training, seeing that, and as soon as that is achieved, I shoot. I am forced to, because of my discipline as a shooter, to shoot at the pace of which my eyes are seeing the appropriate confirmation. Any more than that is a waste of time. Any less than that is irresponsible, because then you don't have the accuracy necessary based on your training. So you want to be shooting at exactly something that you can see and you go, yeah, based on my training, that size of target, that distance of target, I can get away with a confirmation 1, 2, or 3, or flash, float, and focus, or whatever. And then you force yourself to go, yes, because of what I know, because of my experience, I need to shoot no sooner, no later than when I achieve that with my eyes. All right, so we went to the stop gun, we went to the floating gun. Now let's go to a streaking color. So as soon as I have a color on or around that spot, I am going to be pressing that trigger. That's going to decrease the time between shots, just because I don't need the gun to stop. So I don't need a perfect sight that looks like a perfect sight. I don't even need like a controlled float or whatever. Now I'm going to go reacting to a color. A streak, a violent moving sight on the spot that I'm looking at will be acceptable. We'll see. All right. So hopefully you could tell that there was a significantly more aggressive pace. Oh, you see the group there? And I did have one fly up here, right? My second shot, my grip wasn't clamped on yet, so it kind of lifted there. But so let's say I have a fist size with maybe a flyer. All right, cool. So then based on my experience, and my understanding of, you know, my grip and whatever, then I go, man, at 5, 6, 7 yards, even with the flyer, it's more than good enough to hit an A zone. It's more than good enough to hit it as down 0. Why would I ever go back to a confirmation 2? And even more, why would I ever go back to a confirmation 3? Why would I shoot a float or a focus sight when I can get away with a streaking sight, a confirmation 1, the lowest level of confirmation, any kind of color, I can send it, right? Now, if we have problems outside, and you start looking, okay, was my grip constant? Was my grip doing what it was supposed to be doing the entire time? Is my dot dialed up, dialed down? I'm shooting to the sun with a bit of smoke, and my gun's doing, am I losing sight? Like, there's other things you can look at, but I am shooting on purpose at the pace at which I achieved what I think I was supposed to have. So it's a visual pace. It is a permission that you get from your eyes to finish your shot, instead of some preconceived, like, this is fast because it's close, that's far, so it must be slow, or that's difficult, so it must be slow. Fast and slow will forever limit you and don't give you a process, don't give you a, like, yep, as soon as this is achieved, you can go. You're gonna go by some kind of like, yeah, that's really hard, so I guess I'll go slow. Man, I'm telling you, I've seen plenty of people shank shots into the no-shoot or the non-threat by shooting slow because there's no process. What do I need to see on the spot that I'm looking at? Is it a flash sight, confirmation 1? Is it a floating sight, confirmation 2? Or is it a focused sight, confirmation 3, like the gun is completely stopped? Depending on the difficulty of the target, the size of the target, the distance from the target, and coupled with your training, you can make those decisions as soon as the gun reaches your eye line, right? As soon as your gun reaches your eye line, you've seen this before, the relationship between your sighting system and your target is this, I can accept a 1, 2, or 3, and you can do this at the speed of vision rather than some kind of preconceived notion. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more on the confirmation levels as far as how I use them in training to dictate my paces in competition. I don't want to choose in competition, okay, I'm going to shoot this one fast, I'm going to shoot this one slow. No sir, no ma'am. Based on my understanding of like that distance to target, when the sights come up, man, a float will be fine on that one. A flash will definitely be fine on that one. Man, on that 30-yard target, on that 30-yard partial like we saw at Nationals, Carry Optics National this year, I'm definitely going to want a confirmation 3, completely like stop gun, right? A focus sight before I finish that press. Remember, coupled with your confirmation levels, you need to have a constant grip. Obviously on that flyer right there, I did not have a constant grip, so I can point to the problem, fix it, move on, right? Mistakes happen, you move on. Constant grip, then you're going to have eyes that inform you as far as like what kind of difficulty you're expecting from the target, what kind of based on your previous understanding by previous training, right? And then your trigger finger is going to support that, right? You have a constant grip, you have eyes that inform you of the different confirmation levels, and then in my opinion, your trigger should support that effort, right? Slamming through the trigger at a 35-yard partial target is not the way, and people found out the hard way at Nationals. Now, slamming the trigger out of the draw on a 5, 10-yard target, yeah, that might be the way. So you ought to have all the different ways of manipulating the trigger. Sometimes it's a straight pull slap, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes it's a control slap. Sometimes it's a little bit of a prep. Sometimes it's a very defined prep to that final wall so that you're less likely to move the gun between shots when you must have a perfectly still gun. Again, constant grip, eyes that inform your pace based on confirmation levels, and a trigger that support that trigger finger, trigger manipulation that supports that. I hope you find that helpful. I have explained this in just about every class, every pistol class, especially in the pistol dominance classes. Come see me at a live fire class. Let's dial this in together. Hopefully this helps you train on your own while you're trying to sort some things out. But come see me at a live class, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, and put the little bell button on so you know when the new videos come out. You know what to do, guys. Get after it.